days before the lockdown, I was as content as a pig in muck, blissfully unaware of the grand puppeteers pulling the strings of our lives. Life was a simple affair back then. My life was a routine of drudgery at work, evenings spent watching too much rubbish on TV, eating one too many takeaways. But most of all, I held and cherished the comforting delusion that the system wasn't just working for me, but perhaps even cared about my existence. I was in essence the epitome of the contented sheep, grazing in the fields of ignorance, trusting in the government shepherd's benevolence and the government sheepdog's bark. Then, like a bolt from the blue, or more accurately like a virus from Wuhan, the world turned on its head. The flu-like symptoms, or should I say the government's reaction to it, shook the very foundations of my existence. Life's once pulsating arteries went into cardiac arrest. Our homes, previously our castles, transformed into solitary confinement cells, all under the noble guise of protection. We were told to trust the science. The mainstream media reminded us every 60 seconds that we were going to die. We were subjected to lockdowns, restrictions, and a cascade of state-sanctioned falsehoods that painted a fantasy far removed from reality. The house arrest was like living in a dystopian novel. But this was not the work of some hack novelist, but our own government's Orwellian playbook. The lies were as plain as a bowl of porridge on a wet Monday morning. The narratives woven by those in power, echoed by the mainstream media, began to unravel like a cheap Primark sweatshop jumper. Our rights, our freedoms, they were curtailed, all in the name of public safety. This new cynicism, this bitterness that I have, was not just a reaction to the lockdown, but to the stark revelation of a system capable of deceit, control, and manipulation with such audacity. Emerging from this period, I am no longer the naive, complacent, simpleton citizen, content to live within the confines of a narrative spoon-fed to me by those in power. I've woken up to the ugly truths of governance, information control, and how our lives can be dictated by men like Matt Hancock and women like Piers Morgan, ensconced in their ivory towers, so far removed from the common man's reality, it might as well be another planet. This awakening has not only stripped away my trust, but also my illusions. The media, once a source of information, now feels like nothing more than a ventriloquist dummy for the powers that be, shaping narratives to fit their agendas. I've learned to question, to doubt, to peel back the layers of every headline, every government proclamation. Gone are the days when I could bury my head in the sand, sporting a smile as fake as a politician's promises. I've shed the delusion that everything will magically sort itself out. Clearly it won't. This isn't cynicism, it's clarity, a burning skepticism that seeks truth over comfort. The anger isn't one of defeat, but of enlightenment, of piercing through the abundance of lies. I feel an urge, a calling almost, to share this skepticism, this anger, not with the syrupy assurance that everything will be okay, because it won't. Our leaders, the elected and unelected ones, our so-called protectors, have shown their true colours. Not guardians, but gatekeepers of power, often at our liberty's expense. The mainstream media has proven to be more about control and creating fear, rather than about informing. So that is why I am preaching from atop a digital soapbox, not just because I am angry, but because I still see people around me who buy into the lies and deceit. I am not returning to the days of blind acceptance. I am choosing to question the current narratives with my eyes wide open. The state, with all the hubris of a fallen angel, decided to sculpt society in its own draconian image. Our freedoms, once as numerous as the stars in the night sky, are snuffed out one by one, like candles in a storm. Speech is muzzled, turning discourse into whispers. Movement is shackled, reducing citizens to mere chess pieces on a board controlled by unseen hands. In the here and now, if you disagree with the state's narrative, you are labelled as a far-right extremist thug. But then again, what would I know? I'm just a working-class nobody, whose only claim to rebellion is daring to think for myself in an age where even my shadow must march in lockstep with the official line.
说，再不要吧。